Hello Nigerians, welcome to another beautiful edition of Editors Forum. Of course, as we all know, Editors Forum is a program where we get to bring in journalists, public affairs analysts and editors to come together and have diverse conversations on key issues going on in the country. My name is Nenwangi Mazaka, and once again you're welcome to the program. So quickly, before we begin our conversation and introduce the guest I have with me in the studio, let's just quickly watch this report, which of course would also be what will usher us into our first discussion for the day. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the studio. So I have with me Dr. Yinka Oyegbile, who is a seasoned journalist. Thank you so much for being here. I have Mr. Madunagu Chukwuemeka, who is the editor of Metro Star News. Thank you very much for being here with me today. All right, so of course it's no longer news. We have had fuel queues, come and go, and of course, we currently still have, fuel queues, and at some filling stations we could see the price of PMS, hiking and all. And the questions in everyone's heart is, why do we consistently keep having, this on and off fuel queues? But again, we've had the president of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Association of Nigeria, that's Mr. Festus C4, and he identified one of the reasons for the persistent queues in filling stations across the country to be traced down to weak and outdated distribution chains, as a reason for these queues. Well, gentlemen, let me get to your reactions on this. Like I said, this has been an issue over time. We have queues, it clears up, another over and over. We're tired of these queues. Well, let me get your reactions. I mean, also looking at what the Pegasus president had to say.
Thank you very much. If my memory serves me well, serves me right, I think there was a fuel scarcity that lasted for 1 year in the 70s. I mean, Dr. Avery. Yeah. If you remember, I think fuel scarcity that lasted a full year in the 70s. So, can you imagine, when you have such...
Even if we had about 6 months.
Yes. So coming from such a background, you see that it appears the handlers of the petroleum industry have become inured. They become apathetic to the absurdity, of fuel scarcity lasting, so long and being perennial. I mean, when former President Muhammadu Buhari came on board, there was this talk about, fuel queues had disappeared and all of that. His media handlers, kept singing it everywhere. It became a chorus until we gradually started having such issues. And then now, you find the contradiction. President Bola Tinubu said, fuel scarcity is gone. On May 29,
subsidy rather.
Fuel subsidy, sorry, it's gone. May 29, 2023. But the NNPC told us recently that they have not been paying subsidy to anybody for 9 years. So, who advised Mr. President to tell Nigerians that fuel subsidy was gone? So, you see that the biggest scarcity is the absence of truth in all of this. All that has been presented. Recently, NNPC has said that it was due to thunderstorms rain in August break, when we had August break. So I wonder where, maybe on the high seas, maybe those things happen on the high seas. But in Nigeria, it was, we were observing what we call August break. Even in some areas there were, you had rain and all that. So yes, in terms of logistics, it remains a problem because the pipeline network has been largely vandalized. So I know they are tinkered with the idea of uprooting all the pipelines. A former GMD of NNPC, Dr. Ibe Kashfu, told me when I asked him a direct question, and he said, well, that a company, foreign company, had actually, suggested that, said it could remove all the pipeline, or the entire pipeline network, and then bury a fresh one, very, very deep in the ground. But the problem is that there are some parts of the country where you have gorges, that you can't bury anything. You just have to run the pipe, in the open space. So how do you now guard against it? So the issue of vandalism remains a major problem. Unless we can now, let's say, use our ports, our river ports. If we can use our river ports, that would also entail having to dredge like the River Niger, so that we pass, petroleum products through Onne, of course from Onne port, you move barges to Onitsha River port, and then maybe if you put the Uguta Lake into use, of course some of those ports in the Niger Delta, like Sapele Port, Warri Port, Cocoa Port, Bomadi Port, and then of course Port Harcourt, Calabar Port, and all of that. Then for the north, if you can do that through Barrow River Port, which is in Kogi State, from there up, So this thing, the issue of logistics, is not surmountable, but of course, it will have to take a political will of government to find a solution.
All right. Let's have Dr. Inka. But before, so you could add up. So part of what was pointed out to be the issues of the fact that we have a very large population and blah blah, trying to meet the demands of the large population, and then that the fact that this large population are relying on a single point of product importation, and then using trucks to distribute these products. I think Mr. Emeka also touched it, and then along the line, it's vulnerable to bad roads and flood getting across to the people. Do you also feel that this is also a major issue?
Well, some of those reasons, as far as I'm concerned, is bad than that. If we talk of population, is Nigeria more populated than the United States of America?
No.
Or is it bigger than the United States of America? No. 2 p.m. in Lagos is 2 p.m. in Karanam, is the same in Port Harcourt, is the same everywhere. Not like the US where they have about 3, 4, 5 time zones. So when they talk of distance or population, it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is that every government comes in, sets its eye only on the petroleum sector. And when they set their eyes on the petroleum sector, they don't even deal with people who have the technical know-how, who have the knowledge. Because as far as I'm concerned, if they tell me that today the NNPC is populated by the best technocrats or whatever they call themselves in the industry today, and we are having this problem, then Nigeria must be disbanded. Or the NNPC itself should be disbanded. Because as far as I'm concerned, the whole crop of the NNPC management today has done nothing different from what was done in 1970, what was done in 1980, not to talk of the 2000s. Because we still have the same problem. Now, you cannot distribute your product. You cannot refine your product. Yet, in that establishment, you have engineers, you have technologies, you have everything, and all these people today. I know of a particular employee of NNPC that got a PhD scholarship to go abroad and read petroleum engineering or whatever. So when these people come back, what do they do? Why do you have to send, and that's only one person, no. There are several others. Why do you have to spend so much money sending people abroad or even locally and you don't make use of them? Then, right from 1999 up till this moment, billions of naira, billions of dollars have been voted for rehabilitating the 4 refineries. All the money that have been voted for that, if it is not the same or more than what Dangote is using or has used for his own, then it will be a small shortfall. Why is it that up to today, nobody under Obasanjo, Jonathan, Yar'Adua, and under Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, Buhari, and now Tinubu, not a single person has been brought to trial. That, okay, we have given NNPC so much, why is it that we haven't seen any result? If I'm a private employer and I employ you, and my industry or my company is failing every day, and I'm giving you money every time to put it in shape, would I question you? No, we don't question anybody. Why is Mele Kyari still the NNPC chief executive up to today? He survived the 8 years of Buhari. I think he was even there before Buhari, or Buhari appointed. And so, look, if people don't perform, if they don't do their job well, why didn't you keep them? The problem we have with fuel scarcity, they said, is the problem of distribution. Okay, it is distribution. What efforts, since you have been withdrawing petroleum subsidy right from the 70s or 80s, they've been telling us, when we withdraw subsidy, we will invest in infrastructure, we will do. What infrastructure are they invested in? So, does it mean that if the petroleum was still 80 naira that it was in the 60s or in the 70s or 80s?
You mean 80 kobo?
Is it that if the petroleum price had been that constant, Nigeria would have been worse than this? So, they need to tell us. From 200 and whatever, President Tinubu met it, and is now ranging between 650 and
1-2.
And no, let's even use the NNPC benchmark that they said is 658. 2 or 3 days ago, I bought it 950,000, 950 naira per liter. So, if all the money that they have removed, the so-called subsidy they have removed, if they have been pouring it back into the system to repair the refinery, would we have better things today? Why should we continue to import? That's the question. When we have petroleum engineers, when we have people who have the expertise. But the problem is that in Nigeria, we don't place people in the right capacity. We put people beyond where they in offices that is beyond their capacity. That is the problem. And that is, we are going to continue to have this problem until that problem is solved. Because as far as I'm concerned today, I don't think the NNPC can do anything radical or anything better than what Mele Kyari has offered in the last 8 or 10 years. So why should you continue to be there?
Okay, so just as you've mentioned, refinery, because I mean everyone is of the opinion that rejigging our refineries, would be a lasting solution to all this, fuel scarcity and fuel queues. And also because refinery, we also have the Dangote refinery issue, that has been on for a while. And okay, Dr. Yinka is smiling. We have waited and we are still waiting.
But remember, Mele Kyari told us that Dangote refinery will not solve the problem of pricing. So,
supply.
He already dashes the hope of
Nigeria
for a stable pricing and stable supply. So you see, NNPCL should just be taken to the stock exchange and made a private. No. Let them become a private company. Since they have 4 refinery licenses, there are 20 refinery licenses in Nigeria. Since they have 4. Now, with the 4 refinery licenses, let them go and run the refineries. Let the government take both them and the refineries and give them over to the private sector. Let them run as competitors with Dangote, and the rest of them. Then let the NMDPRA and NUPRC take charge of the upstream and the downstream. to let NNPC now become NNPCL fully. People will become NNPC PLC. Let Nigerians buy shares, go to the stock market, buy shares, let it compete, because it has business to do. It has the 4 refineries. It has some other investments here and there. You know, so with that, you know what, we will deal with issues of, you know, bridging costs. We'll deal with all this logistics and everything. Because more refineries are coming on stream. So by the time
With what Dangote is saying, you think anybody is thinking?
no, Boa is building his own line at 5. And there's a Edo refinery.
Okay.
There is Water Smith in Imo State.
Okay.
There are others, you know. So what I'm trying to say is that, and then we need to make necessary reforms in the upstream and downstream, midstream and downstream sectors of the economy. Because a situation where all we hear about is NNPC, it should be an open market, so that it will be easier for Nigerians to now say, okay, in this open market, you have PMS, you have diesel, you have a CNG, you have a LPG, you know, you have a wide variety of choices, so that, you know, you don't have to be stuck with PMS. 1, 2, if you go to many of those countries, you know, that we say are, you know, developed countries, they have efficient public transportation systems. So with that, you see, people don't need to get stuck. People don't need to go to travel with their vehicles. And then this West Cassis thing also belies economic logic, because in simple economics, simple commerce, when you have the larger the market, you know, the more profit you can assume that you will make. But here you have a situation where, you know, you keep hearing different stories. Today is on the recovery, tomorrow is that the president said they should sell and have the land cost and all of that. And that is not sound business logic. It shows that some people are making the system not to work, and that must stop. And that's beginning again from the president, who is the Minister of Petroleum Resources. I think he has so much on his hands that he should give somebody else that portfolio to manage with matching orders, you know, achieve this target with KPIs. But if we continue the way we have gone, you see, we might just find out that the first crisis of 1 year of the 70s, 6 months and all, we might just find ourselves diving back into the same thing. You say it's impossible, but it happened. 1 full year. So we cannot continue the same way. Otherwise, we are not going anywhere.
All right. Let's have Dr. Yinka's last words on this before we move.
As far as the petroleum sector is concerned, I've lived long enough in this country. My optimism has been dashed so many times. So I just continue to look at them. As the late Bola said, we sit down look. But what I know is that the problem will not be solved until we have a president, a chief executive, who is determined that, look, in this my 4-year tenure, I have a re-election or not, this is the problem I want to solve. That is the only time we can have it. But the way we are now, no, the president, the board stops at the table, so I would say the president. The president is not determined to solve this problem. That's my own conviction. Because if the president is determined to solve this problem, he's going to solve it.
Well, probably like Mr. Emeka said, he has a lot on his table. So probably, you know, his attention is on...
Which lot does he have on his table?
So that he should give up the petroleum...
Whether he gives it up or not, the problem will not be... The problem is not being solved, not because he is the minister alone. during Jonathan's time, Desiani was the minister. Did he solve the problem? Because every minister looks at the body language.
Yeah.
Thank you. The body language of the president. But if you have a president who doesn't care whose ox is God, look. If you know that you have your eye on history, let history record it that it is during my tenure as president of Nigeria that this problem was solved. The president will solve it. But I'm not sure we have had that bold enough president. All these ones they are saying they were seized by some bold decision and all that. It's not. That is not what they are not ready to face the problem of that industry, and it will continue to persist. As Osiko said, in the next few weeks, if they are able to solve this problem of scarcity, what they have just succeeded in doing is in the ball off the road. We walk again, we make the ball again. We see. So until that decision is made to solve that problem, we are still going. They banded the Dangote refinery as the so-called problem of the industry, as it. They allowed it. Even we agree that some of the Dangote has his own monopolistic tactics in the industry where he operates. But in this one, why should you want to give Dangote crude to refine and sell in the Nigerian market, and then you ask him to pay in dollars? Where is that done? So the US now, in the Texas where they have their oil, they will mine, they will give crude to their refineries and ask them to pay in pound sterling or in Nigeria or what. So I mean, until we are ready to solve, all we needed to do is, Mr. Man, we are going to give you so barrels in naira. Then how many barrels of fuel will you refine when we give you 500,000 barrels of crude? You know how many barrels it will give you in petrol, in diesel and the rest. Then you make sure you police it that it is all that is sold in Nigerian market. Then the one you give him in dollar, he can export.
One is taken out.
But you can't give him petrol in naira and in dollar and expect him to come and sell in your dollar and your naira that is almost.
All right.